Cat Kanavos Show, everyone. I am your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Everybody calls me Kat, so I hope you will too. And that is my alarm going off telling me that we are going to be on here. Our show tonight is going to be focusing on how to get out of a stuck position in your life, an emotional position. It could be physical too. But, does your life seem to be full of painful memories? You can't move forward. Perhaps you're dealing with illness or crisis, and you feel like you're stuck in a place that you don't want to be, but you don't know how to get out. Well, our expert panel tonight are experts at doing just that. We have Connie Bramer who's with us, and she is a breast cancer survivor, and she wrote the book, How Connie Got Her Rack Back. I mean, the title alone tells you that she did not stay stuck in any negative place. And our second guest is Kevin Murphy, and he's going to be talking about the 3 rooms. And he was actually living in a room, in a small basement room as a single father when he decided he needed to get out of that room. So welcome to the Cat Kanavos Show, Connie and Kevin, and we're so glad you're here.
Thank you for having us.
You may hear my Siamese cat in the background. He is very chatty, so I'm hoping he goes into another room. So, Connie, let's start with you. You are a breast cancer survivor, and also an author. And in 2008, you found that you had your breast cancer. Tell us what you were feeling and what was the type of room, if you could define it as that. What type of a room were you in emotionally?
Well, I was always unfortunately expecting to have breast cancer at some point. I know it sounds a little bizarre, but I'm the 4th generation in my family to have breast cancer. So when I went for my exam and I found out I had breast cancer, I was expecting it. It didn't relieve it at all. Mm-hmm. I think it made me feel like, I was stuck in a room, and the room I was expecting to be stuck in because I knew it was coming. And that's the same thing that my mother had told me when she found out she had breast cancer. She thought that it was, in her rearview mirror that was coming for her.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you were kind of living in a room where you had to keep looking back over your shoulder. Would you venture to say you're still there today?
I think that if you live in a place of fear, it can catch up to you. And I just believe in positivity and not thinking about it, because I do go into these moments when I go have my annual physical. And if you've had chemotherapy before, you know the smell of it. I know that sounds a little odd.
No.
When I get in the elevator, I have like agita. I feel like, what if it comes back? But you can't think that way with anything that you've had that's been a crisis in your life. You can't be waiting for the other shoe to drop and have that return of it. You can't be waiting for it. You've got to just keep moving forward, and that's how I've been living my life, moving forward and laughing a lot.
Mm-hmm. So, Kevin, you are a former Wall Street managing director. Now you're the author of the 3 rooms, but at one point you were living in a tiny little basement room, and you were not happy. In fact, you were ranting at God when you suddenly had a change in your life. Tell us about that.
I had been going through a number of things and a divorce, and I think all of us find times in our lives when we're in a place where we don't really want to be, and we're not sure how we got there, and not sure how we're going to get out, kind of when you were alluding to earlier. And I did kind of have it out with the entity upstairs. I stood on my bed and was yelling and screaming and cursing. And ultimately the peace came. And over time I just started keep looking within, because you talk to people and the advice you get doesn't always resonate and doesn't make you feel great. And so I learned to kind of look within and trust my own inner self, and it brings this level of peace to you. And so I really did learn that we all ultimately have control over our emotions and how we feel and what happens to us. And it's whether we let what everyone else says and what everyone else does affect how we feel and all of our external and outside circumstances, or we start with looking within and feeling good, and then that starts to affect everything we see here. And now, the world starts to change, and all these good things start to come once you start to change inside how you feel. As long as you keep focusing on it and you keep looking at the situation, if I kept looking around in this, this little rented basement apartment saying, I'm never getting out of here. I'm never getting out of here. I'd still be there. I wouldn't have gotten out of there because it would be stuck. I can't believe I'm here. But you say, you know what? I can't wait to go. I know there's going to be great things ahead. And then you start imagining them. You start thinking of them as if they've already come to pass. And all of a sudden things start to unfold.
So, it's funny, Kevin, because when I was reading all of this information about you, and the title of your book is The 3 Rooms, and you talk about how you can't get stuck in a room. You have to ask yourself where you are, what room you're in, and what you're doing there in order to move ahead. In other words, you've got to be able to know where you are, like a GPS, in order to get to where you want to go. And so here you're talking about being in this tiny room in the basement, in a way being down and out. And then at least you knew where you were. The same with you, Connie. You knew that, that shoe might fall. You might, possibly get the breast cancer. So you got it. But then after reading your book, I realized you were never really there for very long. If you were there at all, Connie, you bounced. You hit the ground and you kind of used that momentum to bounce you back up. You did not stay there. But, Kevin and Connie, we hear about people all the time who, if they have an illness, they're stuck in that illness. They define themselves as that illness. If they were an alcoholic, they define themselves as an alcoholic. And I know that as a breast cancer survivor, when my breast cancer was gone, and I told the doctor, I said, it's gone, I'm cured. And he said, no, you're in remission. And I remember how angry I got. I said, no, I don't live there. I am not in remission. It's gone forever. So, what is one tip, Connie, that you can give our audience on how they can make sure they do not stay in that room and they are not defined by what is limiting them at this time?
Well, I think it's a twofold question. One is that I always find the laughter in every situation. Even all the trips to the doctor, all those things that you go through, you need to find some laughter. But the key for me personally was to journal and really write how I felt in every given moment, what I was going through, because then I could write it and kind of set it aside and then move on to the next day. I think a lot of people get caught up in, what am I doing tomorrow and what's the next treatment next week? And I think you just learn to live each day as it comes. And that was difficult for me because I'm kind of a type A personality. What's on my planner for next Tuesday? And you don't know at that time, so you have to learn to live day by day. So journaling was a really huge, powerful moment for me every day when I took time to write down how I was feeling.
It's so true. Kevin, when I was going through cancer treatment, I kept a journal too. And I didn't realize how much progress I had made till I went back and started reading the beginning of my journal. I was like, oh my goodness, that's so awful. And, I didn't realize I was low-key, please. He can hear you guys on here and he wants to talk to you. So a journal can really help us move from where we're stuck to where we want to go. And sometimes we don't realize we've actually moved until we read where we were before. So what would be your one tip on how to get out of that room, how to get out of that basement?
For me, it's really it starts with recognizing where you are, and if you're not happy, with things that going on, you can get stuck with negative emotions for a long time, because you don't realize it. Like thinking about things in the past, worrying about things in the future. And you just said something that was so powerful that, when you were going through health issues, you looked at it from the point as if you were already healed. And when you look at all the spontaneous remissions that are going on all over the world, I mean, there's two main things that they always talk about. Is one, they all have a belief in a power greater than themselves, that there is something greater than them. And then they always came from the place as if they were already healed. And that's the key for everything. It's just wherever you're stuck, wherever you are, you don't keep looking at the situation, because everything, what is here, even right now, is already manifested. You want to look to the future and not worry about the future, because that just keeps creating more of the same. But when you imagine a future as if you're healed, or if you've got that job, or if you got that boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it is, you imagine as if you already have it, and you start to feel as if you have it. That is what literally creates and starts to manifest that exact desire.
So, Connie, tell us where you are now. What room are you in now?
I'm in a really great place, and it's been a journey to get here. And, one of the things that my cancer did for me, and I always say I'm a little bit better than I was before, I think, because it made my focus on what I want to do in my life really laser focused. And it's my foundation that helps cancer. So I'm in a place of giving, and a lot of people who have gone through what you and I've gone through find a lot of healing in giving. Mm-hmm. And not just money, but giving of your time and giving of your spirit to other people. I think that's been a huge change maker for me. So I'm in a really great place right now.
Wonderful. And what about you, Kevin? I know you married the love of your life, so you've got to be in a really wonderful place.
It's true, but I think it's every day. It's starting with always trying to be like people meditate in the morning, and the meditation is just an absence of thoughts. And so you can be in a wonderful place, like said, what I call in the present room, when you don't have all those negative emotions. And it's the thoughts that pull us out when you start to think about other things that make us feel negative. That's really what pulls us out. And so when you meditate in the morning or meditate at night and you feel really calm, that's the place you want to stay. When we go out into the world and we start hearing all these different things, we get pulled away. So I find meditation is the best way to get to that place in the present world, and gratitude is the best place the way to stay. All day long, look for things to be grateful for. Even at night, the last two words, I say at night going to bed is just thank you. And keep saying.
God, remember to say thank you.
First two words you start thinking in the morning when you wake up. The first word, thank you. And you don't even know why you're saying it, because you kept saying it when you went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. And all of a sudden you start to feel good.
Oh, that's true. Gratitude is so important. I remember waking up sometimes in the morning, and I'm sure you did this too, Connie, where you were so sick and you're thinking, I have to come up with some gratitude. What is the gratitude? And it's that I'm still alive. You've got to find something somewhere. It's there. You just have to look for that silver lining. So, Connie, do you have your book handy? Can you actually hold it up next to you and tell us where we can find your book and how we can get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me and find my book on my foundation website, which is gyrb.org, which stands for Get Your Rack Back, and also on Amazon. And I just want to say one thing. You were talking about the gratitude, and that's one thing I profess to everyone that I work with as patients is having a gratitude journal. And every night before you go to bed, write down 3 things that you were grateful for that day. And I'm telling you, it just has such a positive effect, like you said, Kevin, when you wake up in the morning and you look back on what you were grateful for that previous day. It really puts you in a good place.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Kevin? Do you have your book handy?
Well, I'll echo Connie. I love that idea of a gratitude journal, and I couldn't agree with that more. This is 3 rooms available on Amazon, and find more information just in the 3rooms.com.
And for our audience that's watching, if you're watching live on the Facebook page, I posted their websites and the links to their books on my Facebook page, the Cat Kanavos, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos page, and the Cat Kanavos Show page. So if you just scroll up, because we have a lot of people that go on there, and our millennials are just clicking away, they're multitasking on all of their different devices, you can go right to their books or their websites from the pages. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. You know, it's so important that we move forward. And although we were kind of talking about health and finances, it holds true with relationships as well, because nothing can take you down faster than a relationship that ends when you're not ready to have it end. And you can get stuck in that space. So everything that we're talking about here, whether it's, you know, Connie with her journal on how she's improving, or Kevin with his journal on gratitude, or anything, everything that they've talked about today, you can use to help yourselves move on with a relationship that's ended, yet you still find yourself dreaming about that person, or thinking about that person, or feeling like you can't move on to find the right person. So again, I want to thank you both for being on the show with us today. And I'd also like to thank our producer, Rachel, for getting us on the show today. And tune in next week, next Tuesday, for more great guests that will have tips on how to make your life easier. Until then, remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives. Good night, everyone.